Hello everyone, it is really lovely to be able to kick off the Let's Sew event so close to the start of a new year. Let's make it a creative one. This is something that we have control over. There's a lot of things going on at the moment that we have no control over. But we were having a conversation in one of the other groups that I'm in about how being creative and having something crafty to do helps make it feel a lot better. Somebody commented that it would be a better place if more people got creative. So this week, we're going to do something a bit different. We're going to do some hand sewing. Now all the other ones that I've done have been by machine. If you look back, I did do some video demonstrations on how to create a bag, just hand stitching, so pop back and have a look at those if hand stitching is your chosen way of making things. I will give you the choice. The first part of our project, let's put those on there. I'm going to be creating a candle mat, and we've got a hexagon flower put on the front, so that has to be done by hand. There are ways of doing it by machine, but this is something that we're doing by hand. For this one, this was a project that I had in a calendar that I did a couple of years ago, or actually 3 years ago, 2018. And it started off with hand sewing to make the flower, and then we did the appliqué and finished the mat by machine. So if you would prefer to finish by machine, I will put link videos up for that as well. However, I'm going to be doing this along with you and slightly ahead of you, I'm hoping to anyway, so that on Friday when it comes to putting it all together, I can demonstrate and show you how we can finish it by hand. So I had people asking for some hand sewing projects, so I'm hoping this will fit in nicely for you. So the hexagons here are quite small, so you're going to need small pieces of fabric. We're going to talk more about this tomorrow. The biggest pieces are for the backing, and you'll need some cotton wadding to fit as well. So if I remember correctly, I think that's 8.5 inches wide, but I will confirm this with you tomorrow. What I've done is I've used the fabric in the centre that I've used for the outside. You don't have to do this. And I've got 2 each of 3 different fabrics for the flower. You can choose to do them all the same with a different centre. Quite like doing the centre different because then it really does show the flower aspect of it. You could do everyone different. It's perfectly up to you. Now, for hand sewing, a lot of people will use thimbles. It's something that I've never been able to get on with. And because I've been doing hand stitching in an evening, I've put up a little callus on there, so my fingers have toughened up. So I can use a fine quilting needle to do my hand sewing for this. I use a fine one because the project I'm using has got card in the centre, and it just helps to go through the 4 thicknesses of fabric easier because it's thin. But I can't do that until I've built up my callus. You tend to get a hole in your finger. So if you're finding that your finger is getting sore, fabric plasters work well if you don't have a thimble. It's what I've done before, and I do try then to use a different part of my finger to push it through. What I have at home is I've got some chenille needles, a fine needle there, which is a bit thicker than my quilting one, so I tend to use that first to build up the callus, and now I can use a fine needle without too much of a problem. But I don't want you making your fingers sore, so don't go too fine a needle. For hand sewing, there are different recommendations, and we'll go through that tomorrow. But for this, I'm all about people getting involved, making do with what they've got at home. So if you've just got a pack of household needles, use that. You probably won't want to use one that's too long, and you want to have one that's not too thick to help go through the fabric. But just use what you've got there. And then that will be for the tacking and for the joining. And then we're going to go for a bit thicker, and that's where our crewel needles will come in, because I shall probably use a thicker thread for doing the quilting, but more on that later in the week. I'm here to answer any questions. The videos will be going out in the group at 9:30 in the morning. There will be opportunity for you to ask questions, and if there's any questions, I'll come on in the evening. I'll come in and do a live Q&A session in the evening to answer those questions. If you don't have any questions, then you'll have an evening off. But if I've in the conversations that go on in the group during the week, if I find that there's any issues that need addressing, I will be on in the evenings to go through those. So please don't struggle on your own. Come and ask your questions. I will be putting links on tomorrow, so we'll be talking about your fabric choices and what you need. I'll give you links for downloading your templates and talking about how to use those. So look forward to seeing you in the morning. Have a good evening. Pop your questions in the group if you have any, and I'll speak to you very soon. Bye for now.